All righty. Well, back to President Donald Trump's primetime address last night, in which he alleged China obtained millions of voter rolls, like hundreds of millions, and interfered in the U.S. elections.
The president also accused the United States intelligence agencies of covering up China's actions. Take a listen.
The second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling. The third set of documents we are releasing proves that for many years, Americans were blatantly lied to about the security of our election infrastructure. The fourth set of documents reveals that even when significant evidence of fraud has been detected, it has been buried and covered up.
Now, many are criticizing the speech, pointing out falsehoods or exaggerations in many of the president's claims.
And that includes Virginia Congressman Suhas Subramanyam, who joins us live this morning. Congressman, good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. Let's get right into it. You had a lot to say about these comments from the president on social media. What are the big takeaways as far as what you see?
Yeah, the president continues to perpetuate this lie that the 2020 election was stolen. And he provided, quote unquote, evidence of this last night, and it's still there if you'd like to read it. And the evidence actually contradicts his claim. And so he says that China stole a bunch of voter rolls. Well, that information is actually public. You can actually get that publicly, and it's usually free too for most states. And then he says that they were able to take votes away or influence votes. Well, a lot of foreign actors try to influence our election. China is not at all different. And he claimed that China wanted Biden to win. That's not true either. And in fact, he was briefed on any influence of the 2020 election right after the election. And he was told the exact same things. No one was trying to hide anything from him. And China didn't want Biden to win. China thought that Biden and Trump were both equally bad for their policies. So in the end, he just perpetuated the lie, and he didn't provide any new facts.
All right. So the president also took the moment to push for the passage of the Save America Act after making those claims about mail-in ballots that fact checkers are now calling also exaggerated or straight up false. Do you think that speech has swayed any undecided lawmakers or even the American public into supporting these stricter voter regulations?
Well, every Democrat is against it. The Save America Act supposedly is going to prevent illegal immigrants from voting in the U.S. elections. Well, there's zero evidence of that happening. In fact, Virginia did a study over a 20-year period and found that there were zero instances of undocumented people voting in our elections, non-citizens voting in our elections, zero instances at all. And he's saying he provided evidence of this, saying that there's hundreds of thousands of people on voter rolls that are not eligible to vote. But often those are people who are deceased, for instance, and it's just simply the state hasn't been able to get them off the rolls, but they don't count those votes. If someone tries to vote as one of those people, the vote doesn't count. So again, he hasn't provided evidence of fraud of any election. And the Save America Act is just a red herring to try to undermine the results of the November election, because the reality is he's probably going to lose in the midterms and his party's probably going to lose.
That was my final question here. Why now? What is the messaging as far as what you see 4 months away from the midterm elections?
I think the president sees the writing on the wall that things are not going well for him. So he sees the Save America Act and speeches like this as sort of last-ditch attempts to try to prevent a Democratic majority in Congress, because he knows if that happens, he will finally be accountable to all of the things that he has done, all of the crimes that are being committed in his administration. But this isn't going to change that, and people will be able to come out and they're going to be able to vote in November.
All right, so we'll leave it with this. Having said all that, what do you think this means to the public? We talked about independent voters or any voters that are out there who are listening to this. Does this have an impact, or is this just more of the same? Because this is not new. The president has been doing this since we can remember. So does this have an impact on voters or people who see this?
I think the audience, the real audience for this was actually his own base. He's trying to change the topic because the Iran war is not going well, the economy is not going well, the Epstein files aren't going well. A lot of the things that base was excited about when President Trump was elected are not going well. And so he needed to give them something new to divert their attention a little bit. And I don't think it worked. I don't think this is going to pass the Save America Act. I don't think it's going to change any votes. I think he's just continuing to perpetuate a lie that is bad for our democracy and bad for our country.
Virginia Congressman Suhas Subramanyam, thanks so much for your time. We know you're busy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, Girl Scouts.